Hey, what's going on, everyone? It's me, Larry the Batman fan. Hope that y'all are doing well today. So, in today's video, we are going to be going over some comic books that I recently picked up. And we've got over 30 comic books to go through. I also do have a few games that I want to show because I did pick them up recently, even though I said I wasn't going to. And Ion Fury, I will be buying that game on Friday coming up. And I'll be adding that to my Nintendo Switch collection because I am going to be doing an updated Nintendo Switch collection. I also have a copy of Rainbow Six 3 for PS2 coming in the mail very soon. So that'll be in the mail in a few more days. It didn't show up today, but hopefully it'll be coming in tomorrow or Wednesday. But anyways, without further ado, I guess we'll start with the games because I only have two games to really show. I have Lego Jurassic World for the Nintendo Wii U, which I know is not exclusive to the Wii U. It's also on the PS4. I think it was on the PS3 and Xbox 360 and Xbox One. So it was on multiple platforms. And yeah, I look forward to playing it. I'm not a huge fan of Lego games, but I figured, oh, what the hell. I only paid like $7 for it, so I mean it's worth it for that price. For actually it was $7.50, but $7.50 for this is not a bad price for a non-sports game, you know. So I'll give it a go, give it a try, see how I like it. But like I said, I'm not a huge Lego fan of video games. Are very kiddie, and you do the same shit in all of them. You punch people, and they break into blocks, little bits and pieces, and then they disappear. And then you move on with the storyline in the games. There's not much to it, you know. But they're okay for kid-friendly games, without the excessive language in the video game, sexual content, and gratuitous violence. They're not. This doesn't have any of that in it. Not anything gratuitous or really inappropriate. I mean, there is some cartoon violence and crude humor. It says that's why the game's rated E10, but nothing really that serious. And then I said, excuse me, I said in one of my other videos that this was coming in the mail and it finally arrived. Is Moonlighter. I look forward to testing this game out and trying it. I've heard it's an action RPG game on the system, and it looks like a very fun game. A lot of leveling up, combos, and stuff like that. It's kind of got like a Zelda type of vibe to it, but I think there's obviously something different about it. I'm not quite sure yet. I haven't played it yet, but I look forward to playing it soon. I added this recently because I knew I'm going to be doing an updated Nintendo Switch game. I needed some Switch games, so I got this. We'll see how Moonlighter is. I don't know if it's going to be good or not. I've heard good things about it, though. Here's the back. Alright. Now, actually, I do have one more game I want to show since I have it. It was a recent pickup. I got it for brand new. I also, from the original seller that I bought this game from, the seller ended up not having any copies of it. So what the seller did is the seller let me pick out a different game in its place, and the seller didn't have a lot of really good ones. A lot of them were ones that I already have for PS4, or they were just crappy sports games that I'm not interested in. I ended up getting Chris Tales. I have it for the Switch, so I'm actually going to be adding it to a lot on my eBay account to sell with a bunch of other titles that I have behind me, you know. But it's good because I needed some more PS4 games to add that, and because he made a mistake or forgot that it was there or wasn't there rather, he said I could get another game for free. So I chose Left Alive. That one I'm going to keep, and that one I'm actually going to add to my collection. But here's the game. This was off a different seller because the original seller didn't have this game, so I bought another copy, but off a different seller. Is Bloodstained Rituals of the Night. I heard this plays very similar to Castlevania. I've heard it's really good. It's like a love letter to the original roots of Castlevania. You know, Castlevania 1, 2, and 3 on the NES, Castlevania 4 on Super Nintendo, and Castlevania Symphony of the Night for PlayStation 1. I don't own, I think I only own one of the Castlevania games, to be honest with you. I don't own very many Castlevania titles. I did at one point own Castlevania Lament of Innocence. I know it's got a T at the end, but it's silent. But I don't currently own that game in my collection. I don't have it for PS2 anymore because I sold it. But yeah, it's nice to have something Castlevania related. I don't think it's part of Castlevania, but it plays a hell of a lot like Castlevania, so that's why I mentioned it. Alright, now we're getting into the cream of the crop. These are all comic books that I got from John. Thank you very much, John. You're the best. And out of these two bundles here, well, there weren't 20 bundles, 20 each. I got the 20 bundle lot, one of them. The other one, I bought 9 extra comic books. But he included 4 for free. So I got 3 added into the 20 bundle lot deal of comic books. And then I also got the 9 comic books in the mail today. But he also included one for free. He included a whole comic book for free. So that was awesome of him. Thank you so much for that. Got me some extra comic books to read. So let's go ahead. I got the stack right here. It's a big stack of comic books right here. Go through them again, show you guys what I got here. Some of these don't have the sleeves, and some of them do. I could get some more sleeves though at Earthworld Comic Books. They've got them. They've got tons of comic books there too. But Daredevil, The Man Without Fear. That's a 90s comic book, obviously. I look forward to reading that. I wish I had an energy drink right now, but I have just water. It's alright. Water's healthy. Next up, we have John's Freelance Sable. Or John Sable Freelance, whatever. I've never heard of this comic book before. Don't know anything about it. So, I don't know. I might like it or I might hate it. I don't know. I've never read it, never heard anything about it or know anything about this guy. But it's interesting to see that in there. Got the X-Force right here. I have read some X-Force, what am I saying? I've read some X-Force, they're pretty cool, like I think it was a team of 4. Kind of like the Teen Titans, but for Marvel. Wonder what the copyright date is for this. It looks like it's early 2000s. Surprised I don't see a copyright date. Huh. It says 1995 on the back. This was a $2 comic book back in 1995 or 1996. So, yeah, this was around the time that they were around 125, 150, 175, $2 around that time. 1990, 1995, 1996, 1997, 1998, 1999. I was alive back when this comic book first came out, but I was very young. But yeah, still pretty cool to have it. Look forward to checking that out. Oh, we got two in here. I know this is a thick book. Oh, yeah, it is too. Sorry. Yeah, this is the thicker book right here. What the hell is this? X-Men, I think. It says X-Men on the front, so I assume it's X-Men. Yeah, I think this is X-Men. I looked at this before and I was like, what the hell is this? I don't know what the hell this is. But it's X-Men, because you could tell because of the front cover there, but it's in some funky ass cover that really confuses me, because it's not in its normal comic book form. This comic book here is got like a hard cover, and then inside it's got pages, so that's why it confused me. But it's X-Men. This one I have never heard of before. Don't know shit about it. It's Shogun Warriors. Looks like it's an old one, 35 cents. So it's a 1960s or 1970s comic book. So it's pretty cool. We'll check it out. I'll read it. I don't know what it's about. I've never heard of it before though. This is one of those thick paperback comic books that he included. I have had some of these before. Not Guy Gardner. I've had Batman in this type of form. And maybe one or two Supermans, even though I fucking hate Superman. But Guy Gardner right here. I've never read Guy Gardner before. Never had a Guy Gardner comic book in my life. So it's kind of nice to have this and read up on him and see what he's all about. Because I've never heard of him. Well, actually, I have heard of him. Sorry. I've heard of him, but I've never really read Guy Gardner. Growing up, I read the basic comic books. I read Batman, Spider-Man, The Punisher, Iron Man, Flash, Green Lantern, a little bit of Thor, the Hulk, and I read Bionicle and Looney Tunes. That's it. I did not, oh yeah, I also read Daredevil. I didn't know a lot of comic book characters. I knew nothing about Transmetropolitan, didn't know Transmit, didn't know Walking Dead, didn't know Super Dinosaur, didn't know any of that. I didn't know Ultra Force, didn't even know that Godzilla and Sherlock Holmes had comic books, or Indiana Jones and Lara Croft, or Halo, or Call of Duty or Resident Evil. Did not know that. Didn't even know that Turok had a comic. So that's how oblivious I was to comic books as a kid. I just simply did not know many comic book characters. Now I know a lot more as an adult, but there's even still some things about comic books that I had no clue about. Of course I knew the X-Men. Of course I knew this because I had the TV show on Fox Kids back in the day. So Uncanny X-Men right here. Then we got Spectacular Spider-Man from like 1996 or 1997. I can tell it's from one of those years. So I look forward to reading that. I was a huge fan of Spider-Man growing up. Green Arrow. Didn't read Green Arrow growing up, but I know about Green Arrow. Surprised they never made a movie of Green Arrow. The Amazing Spider-Man. This one looks like it's from the early 90s. It's $1.25 on there, so it's probably a 1992 comic or something like that. The year I was born, basically. We got the Punisher. And then we got this. We got Thor. Sorry, there's not a whole lot of commentary. I have not read any of these, so I have nothing to really say about them. Year of the Villains, Mr. and Mrs. Freeze. This is a Batman comic book. Here's a thick ass comic book for, looks like it originally sold for 60 cents. 60 cents. Was Superman and Batman, co-starring Deadman and World's Finest. Never heard of Deadman before. But that's pretty cool. It's a thick issue. The guy gave it to me for free. He was trying to get $20 for this comic book, but I wasn't having that. I think this was a bonus one, but it's thick too. I mean, it's got 100 pages in here, like crazy. Here's some of the comic book art work here. I'm not going to show every page, that would just take too much time, but you get the idea. It's a thick book for a 1974 comic book, and I know it's 1974 because I checked the copyright and the front of it. Alright, we still got more to go through, so hang tight, guys. Grab yourself some popcorn and some water or soda or Venom or Monster or Red Bull. Because this is, we're at, let's see, 17 minutes. This might be a half-hour video. So grab yourself something to eat and drink. Or, I said popcorn. If you don't like popcorn, grab yourself some Doritos or some Thin Mint Oreos. You know, just throwing some snacks out there. Or Little Debbie cakes. The New Warriors. Never read these before. Don't know anything about them. But I look forward to reading them. And it looks like it's an annual. So it's got 64 pages. So hopefully these comic books are G and PG. I don't want any boobies. And no gratuitous violence and no sexual content or language against the Lord. Hopefully not. I told him, make sure the G are PG. That's what I told John. Please. Oh, I should mention it. I know it's kind of halfway through the video I mentioned this, but make sure you subscribe. Make sure you hit the subscribe button. I want to get up into the 300 subscribers count. Trying to get there by next month, hopefully. Thank you. Scout. It looks like we got another Judge Dredd. I got Judge Dredd right here. 2015. We have Old Flash from the 60s or 70s. I actually think it's from the 70s. 60-cent one. So yeah, it wasn't from the 60s. It was from the 70s. Or maybe the 80s. Let's see. Yeah, it's actually from the 1980s. 1983. Marvel Superhero Magazine with 96 big pages. Fantastic Four, Hulk, Iron Man, and Daredevil. Out of all of them, I'd have to say that Fantastic Four is probably my least favorite. I mean, Mr. Fantastic pretty much sucks, in my opinion. Invisible Woman, I think is her name, or Miss Fantastic, she sucks. The Thing sucks because he's not powerful like the Hulk, you know, and just, I wasn't a fan of the Thing. Really, the only character in the Fantastic Four that I think's dope is the Human Torch. I think he's pretty cool. Those movies of Fantastic Four were a disgrace. The Fantastic Four, they sucked. I never saw the one with the black dude in it, the Fantastic Four, the newer one. I didn't see that one, but I saw the two older ones with Jessica Alba in it, and those movies, they sucked. They were not very good. So you got Mortal Kombat 2 on the back, Sega Genesis and Super Nintendo, and it was on the Game Gear as well. Teen Titans. Wolverine, Old Man Logan. Spawn, which I don't read Spawn, to be honest with you. I don't like reading anything dark, so I don't know what I'm going to do with this one, because I just don't read Spawn. He's basically the devil's son or something, and just, I don't read stuff like that. But it's here. Todd McFarlane on the back. Not a picture of him, but he was right. His name's on the back there. Here's a Superman comic book. And here are the other comic books that I got recently. I got one from 1948. I got a really good deal on it for $17 plus shipping, so it's about 22 bucks. It's a hell of a deal for this comic book because it's a 10-cent issue. It's Dick Tracy monthly. And this is issue number what? It says November on it. I'm not sure what issue this is, what number it is, but it's pretty old. This is probably the oldest comic book I've ever had my hands on. It's a 1948 comic book. I do have a Roy Rogers comic book that my grandfather gave me before he passed away from 1952 or 1953, and that was pretty old. And that one's in near mint condition, except the front cover is a little bit torn. But the rest of it's in pretty good shape. Venom. This one's a 12-cent one, so this one's bound to be from the 1950s or 1960s. Is Batman and Green Lantern. It looks like they're fighting this giant, like, rock looking man. I don't know what that thing is, but it's still pretty awesome. It's like teaming up with Green Lantern trying to take them down. Here we have an Amazing Spider-Man, 35-cent one, so it's probably from the 70s, with Green Lantern in it, or not Green Lantern, the Green Goblin in it. That's what I meant to say. Next up, we have a Black Widow comic book, which is pretty dope. I like Black Widow. She's one of the few female superheroes I can tolerate, because most of the female superheroes are whine asses. I don't like their storylines. They're weak. They suck. You know, so that's why I don't care for too many female superheroes. But Black Widow, Batgirl, Xena, and Tomb Raider, Lara Croft. I don't consider Lara Croft really a superhero though. And Xena, I don't know if you would consider her a superhero really. So I guess it's just Batgirl, Black Widow, and Elektra for me. Because pretty much all the other female superheroes I don't really care for. I'm not a fan of Storm, Starfire, or Rogue, or Black Canary. And not into that. You know. We have Batman, this is the Detective Comics line of issues. This one's issue number 639. It says it right there. Next up, we have a Daredevil. I wonder what. Let me just see real quick. Is this a 30-cent one or a 50-cent one? That's how you know you got something good. When they're like between 10 cents up to like a dollar. That's how you know it might be worth some money. Okay, so this is a 30-cent one. So this is probably from the 70s or maybe late 60s. That's pretty dope. Daredevil, folks. Next up, we have Judge Dredd. We have another Judge Dredd. I think we'll show two other Judge Dredds here. This is one of the older ones. I think this is issue number 1. I wonder if it's the very first issue, because if it is, it might be worth some money. You know, it's pretty dope to have that. Pretty stoked to have that, I should say. And we got two more. We got Godzilla Rivals. I like Godzilla. One of the few non-superhero things that I like in comic books. Godzilla's a badass. You know, destroying Mothra and wrecking buildings and eating people. Breathing his fire like, you know, out of his mouth and everything. Pretty dope. Pretty cool. Glad to have that. I don't think I've had a Godzilla comic book in my collection. So that's like the first one. And then this one, which is also a free one. It's a $1 issue, so it's probably from the early 90s. Let's see. It says 1990, so yeah. And it's the Incredible Hulk. Which is pretty cool. Pretty nice of John to throw 4 free comic books into my order. It's pretty awesome. Thank you very much for that, John. I appreciate you. And then the last thing I got was a Christmas present. Was from Dowda. He gave it to me. One of my co-workers. He gave me an illustration book, which I still have yet to read. But it looks pretty cool. It's a nice little magazine with Batman and Robin on the front. So that's pretty awesome. Glad to have that in my collection here. Well, that's pretty much everything that I had to show here. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I know it wasn't really a gaming video, but yeah, we showed a couple games in here. So yeah, stay tuned for more gaming videos. They will be coming very soon. And as always, God bless you. Thank you for watching. Larry the Batman fan signing off. Take care. Peace.